These are the only 5 exercises you need to stay strong past 40. I'm going to give you the exercises that I find important. Now, these are not the only exercises, but if you only did these 5 exercises, you would be doing great. So you clicked on this video for a reason. You're over 40. And maybe your doctor or one of your friends told you that you're going to start muscle wasting, that you can't gain muscle past 40. There's a fancy word for that, sarcopenia. Doctors will tell you once sarcopenia takes effect, it's all downhill. But they're wrong. You can actually keep muscle mass on your body throughout your entire life. Now, will you keep the same amount of muscle mass? No, but you can severely retard the amount of muscle you lose just by exercising. So just another word about sarcopenia. What is it? Well, it starts happening right around your 35th birthday. We start losing muscle. And like I said before, most doctors will tell you that there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. But consider this. With sarcopenia, you lose about 1 pound of muscle per year. If you live to be 80 years old, if you do the math, you will lose half of your muscle mass by then. And they will tell you there's nothing you can do about it. But there is. Think about this for a moment. When President Reagan got shot, he had to do a lot of rehab in order to get back into the Oval Office. Part of that was weightlifting. Now, he was at an advanced age. And what they learned was that even at his age, he was able to put muscle on to the point where they had to redo all of his presidential suits because he was getting too buff. And speaking of politics, just recently, we saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with his shirt off down at Gold's Gym. I kept getting questions on Twitter saying, he must be taking steroids. Well, I can't answer that either way. But what I can tell you is the guy is working out, and he's working out hard. He looks great at 69 years old. And those are not the only 2 examples. There are tons of examples of people keeping it together way past their 70th and 80th birthday. And let's take one of my heroes, Jack LaLanne, for instance. Jack was doing superhuman feats all the way into his 80s and past that. As a matter of fact, in his 70s, he was still hooking like 70 boats to himself and swimming across the English Channel. Now, please understand, I'm not asking you to be like Jack LaLanne or the leader of the free world, but what I'm asking you to do is the best that you can do. Now, here's the thing. As we get older and have fun in life, we accumulate injuries. So today, as I show you these 5 exercises, I'm going to show you several alternatives to the same exercise just in case you can't do the one I'm prescribing. If you stay until the end, I'm not going to give you 1 extra tip. I'm going to give you 2 extra tips. One has to do with a piece of the body that most people leave out when they do these sort of lifts. The other is I will explain sets and reps. And by the way, there is no exact sets and reps, so stay tuned. Number 1, bench press. What are you working? The bench press works primarily your pec majors, your pec minors, parts of your deltoids, and your tricep. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck by just doing 1 movement. Now here it is with the barbell. And now I'm showing it to you with the dumbbells. Is there a big difference? Not a whole lot, but some people just don't have a barbell, and this is a viable way of doing bench press, especially at home. And if you work out in the gym, some gyms don't have barbells and dumbbells anymore. They only have machines. So here it is, doing it on a machine. Now there's pluses and minuses to all of it, but you're going to get exactly the same muscles worked no matter how you do it. Number 2, shoulder press. With shoulder press, you're going to work the entire shoulder girdle. What does that mean? You're working the deltoids. You're working the trapezoids. You're working a lot of the stabilizing muscles in the upper back. You're also working those pectoralis minors right here in the front. It's a great way to keep a lot of extra muscle mass in your upper body. And remember, we worked the triceps over on the bench press. You're working those again. Now, I'm going to show it to you 3 different ways. The first way is the standing barbell press, which you're looking at right now. Now, again, you might not have that piece of equipment, so here's seated dumbbells. Now, the way I'm doing it, you may look this up on the internet, and a lot of times they call these Arnies. Why? Because the great Arnold Schwarzenegger came up with this. He decided that when we did dumbbell press from the side here, you didn't get very low. But if you twisted your hands around, you can get lower and you can work more of the deltoids. So they became known as Arnie's. When you look them up online, you'll see it as such. The third way is on a machine. And here it is with the machine, same deal. You're moving the same motion, you're working the same muscles. The cool thing about a machine is if you have any kind of lower back injury, the machine will really protect your back. Number 3, lat pulls. Now with lat pulls, you're working the latissimus dorsi. That's a lot of word to remember, so we shortened it to lat pulls. So what you're working are what some people call those wings right here on the side, but they're not just on the side. They run all the way through your back. So when you do a lat pull down, you're getting the scapulae to come in. All of those muscles get to flex. It's a large group of muscles and one movement is catching a lot. Number 1, you can do them wide, which you're looking at right now. And then you can use an A-frame bar and do them close. So you can do the close grip. You do get a bit of different effect when you do it close versus wide. People always say, which one should I do? And I always say you do one time. The next time you go in the gym, change it up, keep it fresh. You don't want to get stale. Do the other. And if you don't have that machine and you're working out at home, I'm going to also show you how to do it the old-fashioned way. It's called the pull-up. So you can do pull-ups. Now, a lot of people have trouble doing pull-ups at first, but now they make all of these fancy giant rubber bands that you can use to help yourself up. And if you can't do that, you can get a stool, get your chin above the bar and ease yourself down, get back on the stool, get up there again. Eventually, you will be able to do a complete pull-up and then 2 and 3, and you get the rest. Number 4, rowing. But wait a minute, Vin, we just did a pull exercise. Why are we doing 2 pull exercises? Well, it's very simple. Your back is very complex. You see, we have basically a floating joint, your scapulae. So when you're doing a pull down, your scapulae moves in this direction, in and out. But your scapulae can also move in this direction around your rib cage. So you want to work it both ways, and you're going to get different effects. So remember we talked about these wings popping out when you pull down? Well, if you want to get more thickness in your back, you will pull towards yourself. So that's the main difference. Now, I'm going to show 3 different ways here. Of course, the first is my favorite. It's with a barbell. I call it the old prison yard rowing exercise, where you're doing a barbell row. You can also do these on a cable, which you're looking at right now, the cable row, and, of course, the dumbbell row. Which one is better? I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows. The truth of the matter is, every time you go in, switch it up. Or maybe you can mix and match a couple of them. Number 5, leg day. That's right, squats. The number 1 exercise for your body because, let's face it, the muscles in the legs are the largest muscles in your body. And that also incorporates your butt. So you're getting it all in one. I love doing squats. It's a great exercise, but I do understand that people have trouble with lower back as you get older. So I'm going to show you a couple of alternatives. But first, we're going to show the good old-fashioned free weight barbell squat. Here's another version of it on a leg press machine. It's very similar because they're both compound movements. You're moving your knee, your hip, and your ankle joint. You're getting the same work, but when you do a leg press machine, you're taking the lower back out of the picture. Your leg press machine may not look like this leg press machine, but there are other sorts, and here's a second version of a leg press machine in my gym. So you'll see one of these 2 types in a gym. They both work the same, so pick one of the 2 leg press machines if you can't do squats. By the way, you don't have to stick to one. You can do squats and then choose one of the leg press and do that if you're able to do squats. And now for a little something extra. Whenever we talk about keeping extra muscle in our body, everyone always seems to leave out the core. I like to break the core down into 2 sections, the rectus abdominis or the 6-pack, and then the rest of the core. So for that 6-pack, the rectus abdominis, I have 3 exercises I want to show you. First, it's the Roman chair. It actually works the entire rectus abdominis from bottom to top. Very similar if you do a regular sit-up. I like doing them on a slant board because when you do that, you're not doing a crazy amount of reps. You can burn yourself out really fast, which is what you want to do, and then you want to move on. And of course, the third is the slings. I like using the slings because It works the lower part of your abs. Think below your belly button. A lot of times women will come to me and say, hey, I have this little pooch right here below. Here's the deal. There's no way to spot lose weight. That's going to happen in your diet. And I talk about that in other videos. But for now, if you want to tighten up the muscles in that area, that's the way you're going to do it. Now for the rest of the core. I like doing oblique exercises. These side crunches are always great. It doesn't just work the obliques, but it'll also work all the way up into the lats and part of the serratus muscles. And to round out the rest of the core, we have static planks, which are great, and also side planks. And finally, sets and reps. Here's the deal. If you talk to 10 experts about sets and reps, you're going to get 15 opinions. And I'm not kidding. Who's right and who's wrong? Who's to say? Let me just explain to you what actually works. High sets and high reps have worked for a lot of people. By contrast, low sets and low reps and even one set has actually done the same for others. I'm going to give some examples. We mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger earlier in this video. Arnold Schwarzenegger is probably one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. He was a high set guy, meaning he did more than 3 and 4 and 5 sets in order to accomplish that. There are other great bodybuilders like Dorian Yates, who's won Mr. Olympia as many times as Arnold, and Mike Mentzer, who never spent more than 30 or 40 minutes per day in the gym to get the same effect. And of course, there's the late great Arthur Jones, who created the Nautilus system back in the early 1970s, and he got people to do one set to failure that literally would kick your butt. The one truth behind all of it, whether you're doing one set to failure, 3 sets, or 5 sets, if you're not going to failure in some of those sets, you're not getting the work done. So what does it mean going to failure? Failure means that if you're in the middle of a rep, you cannot complete the rep and the weight has to fall back towards you. Of course, if you're doing free weights, you're going to need a partner. That's why a lot of people who work to failure will actually do it on machines so that when you're done, you can just drop the weight and walk away. The one thing that's true, whether you're doing 1 set to failure or 2 sets or 3 sets, is you should be doing everything slowly and controlled. If you have to bounce the weight up and down, you're not getting anywhere. I always tell people, take off some weight, move a lot slower, get the strength that way. Besides, you're going to save your joints. With that in mind, there are 2 systems that I like, and I've been teaching them since the beginning 40 years ago. 1 set to failure is one of those systems. The reason I like it is because if someone doesn't have a lot of time to work out, it works really well, and you can literally work out twice a week for about 30 minutes and get the entire workout done. This also works great if someone is into cycling or running and they're doing a lot of aerobic exercise. This is a great way to get in and out of the gym. Also, busy execs will use this sort of method. It works really well. So which method do I use and which is my preferred method? I like doing 3 sets, and I find as I get older, it works even better for me. Here's why. I do my first set really light, really controlled, just to warm up, just to get some synovial fluid in my joints. Think about synovial fluid as like oil in your car. You want to warm it up before you take off, and that's what that first set is. For the second set, I add more weight, and the idea is to get to 10 reps. But if I get to 8 and I have to wonder if I'm going to get the 9th one out, that means I have the right amount of weight on. When I get to the third set, I add even more weight. And I want to do 8 reps. But when I get to rep number 6, I'm wondering, can I get 7 out? Will I get 8 out? If I get 8 out, the next time I come in, I'm going to add more weight. But if I only get 7, I'm going to stick with that weight. I want to add a caution in here. If you're just starting out in weightlifting, don't do 15, 10, 8. I want you to do 15, 15, and 15 with very light weight. Once you get through that and once you feel confident, you can move up. And if you're not sure, gyms have trainers all over the country. Hire a qualified trainer and they can help you with this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a great video that you should go watch called The Only 5 Exercises You Need to Bulk Now.